everyone, welcome back to our Accounting 210. In this video, finally, we will go to do some practice together. I apologize if I rushed you for the handout part. If you still have any concern, don't worry too much. Let's do some practice and then hopefully you will feel better. But if you still have any question after this video, next video, just email me. I want all of my students to get the full points from chapter 7. I personally think it's a good chapter for our daily life, and the concept is not that hard. So we try to practice some tricks. You should get all the points. Okay, promise me. Remember, we have this example. We talk about the first one, talk about the second one. We talk about third one. We said we will do the fourth one. So let's just go to the fourth one and say how do we get started. Okay, so I'm using this side. Okay, I'm using this side. Sorry about this. Give me 1 second. Sorry. Sorry about that. Okay, so let's get started. This is my accounting lab, the problem part. We are working on the part 4 together. We are working on part 4 together. Okay, very good. I like this side. I don't know why the pen doesn't work well on the word. What is the break-even point in unit and then in sales dollar amount? Okay, so we said the break-even point, you can always use the traditional way, but for me, since I already know the formula, I just want to use the formula. It's fixed cost dollar amount divided by contribution margin for each one. So we just need to put all the numbers there. Fixed cost, we have those two parts. So if you add those two parts, you will get the fixed cost. The total will be 290,100, I believe. And then contribution margin, I believe is 2 point what? 2 point, we did it, it's 2.5, right? Yeah, I remember. No, I remember. 2.5. So 2.5, make sure you write very clearly. This is 2.5, this is 1,000. And then how many units? It will be 116,040 units. So you have to sell these units to reach the break-even point. Or we said break-even point in dollar amount will be your fixed cost divided by your contribution margin percentage, right? So fixed cost is still 290, 100, and our contribution margin percentage, I already said the solution rounded it to 13%, so I will just go with the 13%, so you will not be so confused when you read the solution. Your numbers will be definitely different from this number. If you do this, you will get the dollar amount, right? So because you still have dollar amount, will be 2,231,500. Hey, sorry, you cannot see. It goes all the way there. Sorry, my bad. I need to make it smaller. Okay, sorry, I put the number here. Sorry, it's my fault. I didn't see this. Okay, the dollar amount will be it's 231,538. You don't need to really know the numbers because your number will be different from mine. Just to make sure you know the concept. Okay. So how do I go to okay, next one. Question 5. Okay, so we continue with the question 5. We now think about question 5. How many units will a company to sell to earn target operating income? Now we know how do we get this, right? But it's asking about units. So it's straightforward. So for the units, now our numerator is not just the fixed cost, but we also want to add the operating income and divide it by our contribution margin for each. Our fixed cost we already did is 290,100 plus your operating income target 260,100, and divided by 2.5. You can do the number by yourself. I'm not going to do it because, as I say, we just want to know the logic. Your numbers will be different. So what's the point of getting the number? Next one, you can see question 4 talking about break-even point. Question 5 practice the target operating income. Question 6 will be the what if, right? Question 6 will be the what if situation. Remember, I said there are 2 methods I can test you. One is I give you some statement. The second is I let you do the numbers. Let's look at this one. Management is currently in contract negotiation with the labor. If negotiation fails, direct labor cost will increase. Direct labor cost will increase by 10%. Fixed cost will increase by this. If this cost increases, how many units will have to sell to break even? Okay, now it's still asking about the break even point, right? We still need to focus on break even point and asking you how many units. So it's units. Okay, so we need to still use the fixed cost divided by contribution margin for each unit. And how do we get this one? What will happen if blah blah blah? Very familiar sensitivity analysis. So how do we do this? How do we do this? We said, how do we do this? Okay. We said to get our fixed cost, so we need to use the new fixed cost, right? Our old one is 290,100. But now in this new situation, your fixed cost will be increased by 22. So our new fixed cost will be old one plus the increase. So that will be our fixed cost. And what will be our new contribution margin? Contribution margin is always your selling price minus all the variable costs. Our selling price is 20. All of the variable costs, remember, your direct labor cost will increase by 10%. Okay, now let's look at all the number. Direct material is the same, right? Will be still 6.7. Okay, so this is your selling price minus all the variable costs. Okay, so the direct material is the same. Direct labor, it will be 7.7 now because it will increase by 10%. Will be 7 times 110%. This is very important, right? This is the trick. Some students just forget this one. And then the others will be the same variable manufacturing overhead variable selling. So this is +2 plus 1.8. So you will get the new total variable cost. So your new total variable cost, and then you will get the new contribution margin. You get a new fixed cost. You get a new contribution margin, and then you will get the new break-even point in unit or in dollar amount. Okay, as I say, I'm not going to do the numbers. Our focus is go through the questions so you can know the logic. Next one. Question 7. So if you have a good way to show me actually how to use my smart pen for the paper, the word, you can teach me. You are my professor too. I'm not a big fan of the technology. Question 7, return to the original data. So we still go back to the data. We ignore question 6. What's the company current operating leverage factor, right? So I said you will not be tested in the exam, but you have to know how to do this in the assignment. How do we get the leverage factor? Leverage factor is your contribution margin divided by your operating income. Our contribution margin, the old one, is 2.5. Our old one, original operating income, is how much? So the revenue minus variable cost, the contribution margin minus fixed cost gives us operating income. We go all the way to the original one. Contribution margin is 2.5 each, and then original question said is 130,000 units, right? 130,000 units. So you get your total contribution margin. You minus all the fixed cost. We already knew the fixed cost is 290,100. You got your operating income is 34,900. So now you put it back to your operating income, 34,000. Oh, sorry, my bad. remember, I made a mistake. Sorry about that. I made a mistake. Your contribution margin, you have to use the total is 130,000 times this. So if you do this, your factor is 9.31. So this is your factor. This is your factor. How do we interpret it? Let's see whether we have a question, yes or no. Yeah, see, question 8. Question 8 is just the next one. How do we interpret our factor? How do we interpret our factor? I want it to be going all the way there so I can go here and there. Okay. So if our volume increases by 7%, what's the change of our operating income? Okay, so the change of our operating income is your change of volume times your factor 9.31. So your operating income will be increased by this. That will be increased by 65.2%. That's it. So you just need to know when your volume increased by 7%, your operating income will increase by 65.2%. Next one. Question 9. Question 9 asking about the margin of safety. Margin of safety. What's the margin of safety in sales dollar? What's margin of safety percentage of sales? So let's do this. Margin of safety in sales dollars. All right. Margin of safety. I always draw this. Kind of remind me what's that. Our break-even point and our current sales. The difference will be the margin of safety. Our current sales is how much selling price is 20, and then currently we sell 130,000 units. So that's our current sales. We minus break-even point. We said break-even. How many units? We said from question 4, we already did. Or question 4, we said the current break-even is 2,231,538. So you minus that number. I'm not going to write it from question 4. So the difference will be our margin of safety. Margin of safety from the solution we got the number is 368,462. Okay. Now you got this is your margin, which means your sales can decrease by $368,462 before you reach the loss. I'm asking about your margin of safety as a percentage of sales, So how do we do that? We said your percentage will be your margin divided by your current sales. So 368,462 divided by your current sales. Current sales is 20 times 130,000. So you get this margin equals to 14%. How do we interpret this? Your current sales can decrease by 14% before you reach a loss. Take a deep breath. Now let's go all the way to our question 10. This is a good example to work with you, practice the sales mix. I'll work with you. So now you have a second product is the 12 gigabyte. Okay, now you can be sold to this and then variable cost. Okay, so now we have two products. So your products 256 gigabyte and then also 512 gigabyte. We said that the selling price, I'll just get contribution margin directly. We said we already got this is 2.5, 512 gigabyte selling price, variable cost. So you got your contribution margin is how much? I believe it's 17. Everybody knows how I got it. 45 minus 28. So it will be 17. And then give the mix. Sorry, let's read. How many gigabyte will be sold? This expected mix is 6 this for one of these. Okay, so the number will be 6 and 1. So the total we have to have a total basket, right? So your total will have 7 units. And then the contribution margin will be, this gives you total $15, this total gives you $17. So your total contribution margin will be $32, but it's over 7 units. So our weighted average contribution margin will be 32 divided by 7 equals to 5. Okay, the solution rounded to 5. Solution rounded to 5. Now our basket break-even point will be what? Will be original 290,100, but now your fixed cost will be increased by. Oh no, it's not increased. Sorry about that. It's not break-even point. It's my bad. It's not break-even point. I made a mistake. I just didn't read the question carefully. Sorry, it's my bad. So we are not talking about break-even point, but we are talking about if you want to get some money, right? So if you want to get some money, so our units will be break-even point plus your target operating income 260,100. So that will be your numerator. Your denominator is your weighted average. So you get around this, and then 40 units. Are we done? Yes or no? I just want to say, are we done? Yes or no? Are we done? Yes or no? No. Why? Because we need to get for each product. So for 256 gigabyte, okay. So total units is 110,040, but for 256 gigabyte, it counted as 6/7, right? So your portion is 6/7. So the total unit has to be 94,320 units. For the 512 gigabyte, so your total basket is this much, but it only counted as 1/7. You said, how do you get this? It's 1/7 there. So it will be only 15,720. It will be just 15,720. Okay, so that's basically all. Question still ask you, is the volume higher or lower than the previous needed? Why? So why? I put my solution to the blackboard. I'm not going to ask you this question in the exam, so don't worry about that. For the sales mix, just know how to get the numbers. Okay, I'm tired here talking too much. I make one more video. We go to look at the multiple choice in the blackboard, in the My Account Lab, and then we are done for this chapter. Oh yeah! Let me know if you have any question. Thank you, my students. I see you next time.